Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into a true titan of the muscle car era, an icon of raw American power that still turns heads and makes hearts pound over 50 years later. That's right, we're talking about the legendary 1970 Dodge Charger RTE. Now, when you picture a classic muscle car, what comes to mind? For a lot of us, it's this exact car. It's got that aggressive stance, that unmistakable presence, and a soundtrack that's pure, unfiltered V8 symphony. The 1970 model year was a special one for the Charger. It was the third year of the iconic second-generation Coke bottle body style, which many argue is the pinnacle of Charger design, and looking at it, it's hard to disagree. Let's start with what makes the 70 model stand out. The designers at Dodge made a few key changes from the 69 model. Up front, they introduced a full-width chrome bumper that wrapped around a brand new grille. This wasn't the split grille of the 69. Instead, it was one continuous, imposing piece that gave the car an even wider, more menacing look. It's a subtle change, but one that completely transforms the face of the car. It looks less like it's just on the road, and more like it owns the road. Moving along the side, you've still got that beautiful, flowing body line that kicks up over the rear wheels. But for 1970, Dodge added these cool, non-functional scoops on the doors. They had a big RT emblem right in the middle, leaving no doubt about what you were looking at. It was a bold statement, a bit of extra flair that just screamed performance. And at the back, the taillights were now housed in a single long panel, giving it a cleaner, more modern look compared to the individual lights of the previous years. But let's be honest, you don't buy a Charger RT just for its good looks. You buy it for what's under the hood. And this is where the 1970 Charger RT truly shines. The standard engine for the RT, which stands for road track, by the way, was the mighty 440 Magnum V8. This beast of an engine, with its 4-barrel carburetor, was good for a whopping 375 horsepower. In a car that wasn't exactly a lightweight, that much power meant you could go from 0 to 60 in about 6 seconds, which was seriously quick for the time. It was the kind of power you could feel in your chest every time you stepped on the gas. But Dodge didn't stop there. Oh no. If the 440 Magnum wasn't enough for you, you could opt for the 440 six-pack. This version swapped the single 4-barrel carb for 3 2-barrel carburetors. When you were just cruising, it ran on the center carb to save a bit of fuel. But when you put your foot down, all 3 carbs opened up, and the engine unleashed 390 horsepower. The sound of that six-pack kicking in is something you never forget. It's a mechanical roar that's just pure adrenaline. And then, there was the king of the hill, the engine that legends are made of. The 426 HEMI, known as the elephant engine because of its sheer size and power, the HEMI was a race-bred monster. With its hemispherical combustion chambers, it was an incredibly efficient and powerful design. Officially, it was rated at 425 horsepower, but everyone knew that was a very conservative number. It was likely pushing closer to 500 horsepower. Getting a HEMI in your Charger was not cheap, and not many were sold, which makes them incredibly rare and valuable today. A HEMI Charger wasn't just a car, it was a statement. It meant you were serious about performance. All that power had to be managed, and Dodge gave you a couple of excellent options. The standard transmission was the heavy-duty A727 TorqueFlite automatic, which was more than capable of handling the massive torque from these big block engines. But for the purists, the real enthusiasts, there was the A833 4-speed manual transmission, often topped with that iconic pistol grip shifter. Grabbing that shifter and rowing through the gears was an experience in itself. It connected you to the car in a way an automatic just couldn't. The RT package wasn't just about the engine either. It came with a heavy-duty suspension, bigger brakes, and wider tires to help put all that power to the ground. It was a complete performance package designed to make the Charger a capable machine on the street and even on the track. Let's talk about the interior. Stepping inside a 1970 Charger is like stepping back in time. The high-back bucket seats were surprisingly comfortable, and the dashboard was all business. A full set of round gauges, including a 150-mile-per-hour speedometer and a tick-tock tach, a combination clock and tachometer gave the driver all the information they needed. The center console flowed beautifully between the seats, housing that awesome shifter. It was a cockpit designed for driving, plain and simple. Of course, we can't talk about the 1970 Charger without mentioning its starring role in pop culture. This is the car that Dominic Toretto drives in the Fast and the Furious franchise. Although his car is technically a mix of 68, 69, and 70 parts, its soul is pure Charger. That movie introduced this incredible car to a whole new generation of fans and cemented its status as an absolute legend. The image of that black Charger supercharger, whining, doing a wheelie off the line, is burned into the memory of every car enthusiast. Driving a 1970 Charger, RT, is an event. It's not like a modern car. There are no driver aids, no traction control to save you. It's just you, the engine, and the road. The steering is a bit vague. The brakes require a firm push, and it feels every bit as big as it is. But when you find a straight piece of road and unleash that big block V8, none of that matters. The raw, brutal acceleration pushes you back in your seat. The rear tires fight for grip, and the sound fills the air. It's a visceral, mechanical, and completely addictive experience. It's a reminder of a time when cars had real character and personality. The 1970 model year was also significant because it was the last year for this particular body style and, in many ways, the peak of the muscle car era. By 1971, rising insurance rates and new emissions regulations were already starting to put a damper on high-performance cars. The horsepower wars were coming to an end. So the 1970 Charger RT stands as a monument to that golden age. A perfect blend of style, power, and unapologetic attitude. Today, finding a genuine 1970 Charger RT is a treat. They are highly sought after by collectors and enthusiasts around the world. A matching numbers HEMI car can fetch astronomical prices at auction, but even a well-maintained 440 car is a prized possession. They represent a time when a trip to the local Dodge dealership could land you a car that was just a few modifications away from being a legitimate drag racer. So, what is the legacy of the 1970 Dodge Charger RTE? It's more than just a car. It's a symbol of freedom, of power, and of a uniquely American approach to performance. It's a rolling piece of art that sounds as good as it looks. It proves that some designs are just timeless. Over 50 years later, it still commands respect and admiration wherever it goes. It's not just a classic muscle car. For many, it is the classic muscle car. Thanks for joining me on this look back at the incredible 1970 Dodge Charger RT. What do you think? Is this the ultimate muscle car? Let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next automotive deep dive. We'll see you in the next one.